Peace and blessings, life and poetry fam. Today I want to talk about poetry. If you guys caught the one of the earlier videos, it's only like 3 videos on the channel, but if you caught one of the earlier videos, I kind of hinted towards me being a published author. I am a poet and things of that nature. And I wanted to dive into that with you guys and take you on the journey with me in the processes of me writing and stuff like that. But this video, I just want to introduce you to me as a writer, as a poet, and just try to explain who I am as a writer and as an author, as a poet, things of that nature. And so, yeah, let's dive into that one there. And it's funny that I got a book earlier, last week or so, probably a week before that. I forgot the book. Either way, I got a gift from my best friend, my cousin. It's a book called You Poet. You Poet. I'm shooting on my iPhone, so just bear with me if you don't catch whatever. I can also put the title of the book in the description down below. But so I got the book, and it's basically a how-to for poets. Or that's what I got thus far in reading the book. And it touches on a lot of topics, like answering questions, what is poetry, and things of that nature. And so I wanted to jump into that first question right there. For me, what poetry is, and it's simple yet complex. Everything about me, I try to make, as simple as possible, because I don't like to think too deep. Although my mind goes there, I don't do it intentionally. It's just who I am as a person, I guess, and which makes my writing just even more elevated in a sense, in my humble opinion. I am humble about it, but I am boastful at the same time because I'm good at what I do. I can say that with authority. I'm good at what I do, but I can always be better. There's always room with me for improvement. But yeah, so for me, poetry is basically a way for me to express what's in my head, creatively, and I'm sure a lot of other artists or authors or writers, poets will probably say the same thing. It's a good way for expression, but for me, it's about the underlining piece of expression, and I find myself tapping into a vast array of explanations within my poetry, from topics from love to the church to depression to destruction, things of that nature. But I try to get under the meaning and leave a piece of me in each piece I write. I'm sure most writers can contest to this, that we leave a piece of us in each piece of work that we do. And for me, I try my best to do so. And the truth be told, I found myself writing because I found a freedom in it, a freedom of more than just expression, but of a feeling and gratitude that I couldn't find in other things, other outlets. Journaling was one of those outlets that leaped from the pages, from the pages of a notebook to the pages of my poetry book. And when I combined the two, I was like mind blown. I tapped into this place or this dimension that I didn't expect myself to go into. Now, mind you, I've been writing for 10 plus years, give or take. I started at an early age. I started writing in elementary school, believe it or not, short stories for children. And if I can recall correctly, the first short story I wrote was entitled "Woman with a Stinky Boot." Mind you, I'm writing this as a child, in the floppy disk era. You know, that was some time ago. We were still using those floppy disks on those computers, and I lost all that stuff. And as I went on, I switched from short stories to poetry, and I was like, this is a lane that I want to stick in. And with that, I found myself being able to tell a story. A story that not too many will know, but can say, I can see where the journey went, and feel that they followed me through each word, through each stanza, through each phrase, each metaphor, each punctuation in each piece of work that I did. And for me, it became that thing that I couldn't live without. Within my poetry, I found myself being able to address my fears and my passions, desires, and all these things, and take them out of my head and put them on paper for the world to see without having to be able to actually speak it to people. Believe it or not, I don't like public speaking. I don't like talking to people. I don't like public presentations. But if I'm put in that corner to do so, I will execute to the best of my ability and beeline right off stage. That's me as a person. I don't like the fanfare. I don't like publicity. I just like to be me and write. And with that, in my writing, I can get those points across. And as I dive into me as a poet on this channel, I'll be able to go in more depth about those things and take you on a journey with me through my writing process, which is fairly creative, yet non-productive in the same sense. I procrastinate a lot. I procrastinate a whole lot. But when the finished work is done, it's done. I may go through 7 edits at a time and go back and say, okay, I'm finished with it. Before I go to publish it or send it to someone to read it, I'll edit maybe 6 more times until I find my voice, not in the words or in the line, but underneath it all. Truth be told, I found myself writing because of one reason: fear. I had a fear of expressing myself. Like I said, I don't do public speaking or things of that nature. So for me to express myself to you freely and try to get a point across, it was a crash and burn. It always was. So for me, I use my poetry as that outlet. And I dedicate my pieces to things and people that I may not come in contact with until years later. That's another thing we're going to touch it on as we go into the poetry section of this chapter. But yeah, so I want to take you guys with me through that process of me as a poet and as a writer, and as a critical thinker, as a creative thinker, and all the things that tie into who I am as a poet. So guys, please stay tuned for those videos. I guarantee you they will be interesting, they will be knowledgeful, and I pray that me telling my story as a writer can help other young writers pick up that pen or form their fingers on those keyboards and get those keystrokes moving so they can too get their ideas out, put them on paper, and possibly one day publish them and become an author and do what they want to do with their words. But yeah, so that's me in a nutshell as a poet, as a writer, as an author. As we dive in, like I said, we're going to go in depth, total in depth about this. I want to get fully submerged with you guys about who I am as a poet, and I will reveal to you guys more about me and my poetry, and I will also display some of my work on this channel. So yeah, stay tuned. Life in Poetry with your host, Marcus T, this guy.